Peace and blessings, everyone. It's your favorite truth seeker, truth teller, and brother, Wise Champ, back for another one. And today's topic of discussion, I want to discuss something that's been bouncing around lately, and it's really exclusive, really for the black community and for black people in general. And it's talking about this situation going on with Tuskegee University and how they came about with a dress code: no bonnets, no do rags, no slippers, no pajama clothing. At basically anything outside of your dorm room, to my understanding. I could be wrong, but I know it's a restriction on what you can wear. And my thing is, I am not disturbed most that Tuskegee is doing this. What's mostly disturbing about it to me is that Tuskegee should have to do it at all. We've lost the sense of discernment of what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. Every generation before this generation that's here now, we listened to the counsel of our elders before us, and we would, whether we agreed or disagreed or not, we still listened to the counsel. And many times, as we got older, the things that we didn't agree with, we started to understand and agree with once we saw what the implications really were in life. Now with this new generation, they are bucking the system on almost everything that we tried to tell them, and then they'll come back and say, "Hey, you did this when you were our age." Yeah, we did do that type of stuff. But the difference is that our elders were telling us that we shouldn't be doing it, and because we listened to them, and now we understand why they were saying that, we pass that same message on to you. This new generation is saying, what the hell with that? I'm not going to say every one of them, but a lot of it. You know, um, and what's happening is a lot of these kids, they don't understand how to act out in public. You know, um, I remember when I was in high school, we went on a black college HBCU tour, college tour twice, and we went to this went to this one college. I think we were in North Carolina. May have been like Shaw University or something like that. One of those schools. I can't remember exactly what it was. But when we came into the school, I was wearing a hat, and the lady that was doing the little presentation to us said, "Chapeau, please." So I'm looking at her like she's crazy, like, what the hell is a chapeau? Then she says it again. She says, "Chapeau, please." I'm like, what is a chapeau? And she says it one more time. And then one of my mentors, he got really, really mad at me and he snatched my hat off. So take your hat off. And he's kind of like, handed it back to me in a forceful manner, which I was really upset about because I had no clue what chapeau was. I have never heard that word used before that time, and I haven't heard it used before again after that time. But the bottom line is, we were being taught how we were supposed to conduct ourselves when we come into certain environments. I'll give you a personal example. Do I curse? Yeah, I curse. Will you hear me cursing out and about if I'm in the food store or any other store, any place in public? No, you won't hear me curse. Will you hear me just cursing in my everyday lingo and how I talk to people? No, you won't hear that. When I'm with my boys, my homeboy, we're chopping up, just having a good time. Yeah, we curse like sailors. I sound like a regular Samuel L. Jackson. Will you hear me cursing? Um, if I'm on the phone with my homeboys, yeah, of course. That's how we talk and banter with each other. But when we're out and about and we're in society, you won't hear me doing that. If I'm with my homeboys and a woman comes around, I'll stop cursing. I do these things because first and foremost, it's a matter of respect. Second of all things aren't for everywhere. Bonnets, do rags, pajamas, things of that nature are meant for the home. They're meant for you to be comfortable in the home. And what happens is, if we don't teach these young adults, actually really before young adults, we don't start from children to teach them what things are appropriate in society and what things are not appropriate in society, then we're going to have a bunch of what we have going on nowadays, where you have kids that don't even know how to go on a job interview. They go on a job interview and they're cursing and talking like they talk to their homeboys in the street. Who's going to hire them? You know, they're going in there, they don't know what they're supposed to wear. They don't know that they're supposed to have a shirt and tie. They don't know they're not supposed to have their pants hanging down or wearing a do-rag or whatever it may be. There's a time and a place for those things. You know, the females shouldn't be walking around Walmart with every crevice of their body just being shown. No, don't get me wrong. I love looking at a beautiful woman. Nobody enjoys that more than I do. But I don't want to see that with children around. I got my children with me, and I got a basically, it's like an X-rated movie almost back in the day, or a movie when you were watching a movie with kids back in the day where you had to cover their eyes. And this is stuff we're seeing in the community out and about. We don't know how to conduct ourselves. What happened to the class? I used to miss like watching television and seeing classy women conduct themselves like Claire Huxtable and like Vivian Banks, and how they, when they conducted themselves, it always garnered respect. And they were very feminine in what they did. They didn't have to try and buck up and be all masculine and, you know, talk hard and all this stuff. Just the fact that they were feminine caused the men to straighten up. You know, it's hard to respect. You know, when you got people from outside communities, it's hard to respect us if we're conducting ourselves like we've never been any place. And this is just the facts. They are judging us based off the worst things that we do. None of the great things that we've done. When you see anything great thing we've done, oh, that's just an isolated incident. But when you see one over in the street walking around with bonnets or with our hands hanging down behind our behind, they're judging all of us based off of that. We're the only people on planet Earth that are being judged that way. So yeah, I agree with Tuskegee doing what they did, because them kids need to know that when they go out into the world, they need to know how it is they're supposed to look, act, talk, walk. They need to know those things. And going to college is supposed to be a preparatory place for you to be able to learn those things on how to conduct yourself in a professional environment. I agree with it. You know, and it's just crazy to see us fight back and forth. And then you had Trick Daddy, the way he disrespected NDRE. He didn't say anything bad about that girl, Young. She didn't say anything bad about that girl, Young Miami. He called her every B word, child of God. And this dude looked like a chewed up chocolate now later. Like he looks like a walking disease. He had the audacity to come out his mouth and say the things he said I had to say about that woman. Zero home training. He's my age. Zero home training. I wish if my dad had saw me say something like that, talk about women like that, I'm scared. I'm scared to talk like that and let my father hear it. To where other people can consume that video. I'm like, what? I know my phone would ring and my dad would say to me, let me ask you a question. And as soon as he asked that, let me ask you a question, I would have known I was in trouble. At 50 years old, I feel that way. That's called the respect that we have for the older generation. And this generation has come now don't have the respect. And I'll tell you one reason why is because a lot of us as parents haven't shown these children why it is we should be respected. We're too busy out there trying to party with them and be friends and and do all this whole other stuff that is really not in their best interest. And these kids are coming up and they're going out in society and they're basically being little terrorists. And us as black people are being judged by every single bit of it. So when I go out in society as someone who's striving to be an upstanding man, I got to be judged because some YNs want to walk around and don't know how to conduct themselves. Will speak any old kind of way out the side of their mouth with elderly people around and women and children around. The YBs walking around calling each other B words. You know, just acting all foul mouth and every bit of their body being shown. You can see through their clothing. How are we supposed to come out in the world and say we're worthy of respect? This is how we conduct ourselves. How are we supposed to do that? Because it's not going to happen. It's not. And until the younger generation starts looking towards the older generation for counsel again, and the older generation gets it together, we're not going to solve our problems. We're not. You know, and as black people, we have to be open to being corrected. You know, like I said, I see these kids out here, some people out there cursing and stuff like that. And I want to tell them, I say, hey, look, you got women and children, elderly people around. Why are you talking like this? But you do that and you run the chance of something much bigger and more deadly potentially happening. You know, we have to get it together. And when I say we have to get it together, it starts with each and every single one of us as an individual. We have to be that beacon of light first before the world is going to change, or else it's not going to change. Our society is not going to change. We're not going to build any wealth for the next generations that are coming up behind us. And we have a great opportunity with the advent of AI and all the millionaires that are being made right now. We have a way. There's means for us. We just have to take it. But as long as we're fractured, it means nothing. A few of us will get out of it, but the rest of us will still be sitting in the same place doing the same thing as our grandparents were sitting and doing the same place, same thing. And like always, if you found any value in this video, please like, share, subscribe, comment. I want to do collaborations and talk with some other people so we can do some discussions on topics. And as always, I leave you with love, peace, and happiness. Peace.